Alright. Before you start, make sure to click that like button and that subscribe button to help me continue making these videos. It helps a lot. Alright. Now for your first step, it's just opening Godot. If you already have it open, you're already set for that. When Godot opens, I'm quickly going to remove this. These aren't important. And then we're going to just do this. Name it tutorial. You guys can name it whatever. I'm choosing compatibility for this. And edit now. If this is already open, then you're even further ahead than everyone else. Now, once this opens, you do want to go into your asset library right away. You're going to type in block. And then make sure it's by endless. If it's by endless, you're good. Click on that, download it, and then you have your block code. Install it. Once installed, then you need to do a simple task. We will get into it soon. Kind of just wait for this to be done. Once that's done, then you go into project settings. You enable the plugin or checkmark it. It will show up in the bottom. When it shows up in the bottom, you're good. And then you can go to create a 2D scene. In that 2D scene, you want to add a child node. The child node we are adding is the character body 2D. And then we add another child node, which is called collision. This is collision shape 2D. When you add that, make sure you go into here. We're going to add rectangle shape. We're just going to do that. And then to make the player actually see what they're doing, we will add a sprite 2D. The sprite 2D will allow you to add any image you want. I am just going to be using Godot's built-in one for this video. When you resize it to your liking, then you're good to go. Then click on character body 2D. When clicking on character body 2D, add block code. When you click on this, it'll show that bar, and then you can add your code in. Then we want to bring it up, and then what we can do now is for when starting, set position 2, and we're just going to set it to like 500 and 500. I don't know where that is on the screen, but I'm guessing it's somewhere close to the middle. You don't really need to set the position, but if your game really needs it like at the middle or something, then this part is important for your character. Then we will go up here and then add an every frame. This will allow us to make the character actually move. If you're used to Scratch, this is basically the forever function. And then what you want to do is create a new variable. We're just going to call this X and then make it int. And then we're going to do another for Y and then call that int. Now you want to add both of these to the top and reset it to 0. Basically what X and Y will do is they will set the movement for how fast you will go when you're clicking WASD. You can also do, of course, arrow keys. Before we actually get into the process of making those arrow keys, you need to go back to project settings, go to input map, add a new action. We'll call this forward, backward, up, and down. Now what you want to do for each of these, for forward, we're just going to do, it actually depends on what you're doing. So if your forward is going this way, you could do D. If it's not that way, then you could do W. For now, we're just going to do W as forward because we're going up the screen, and then backward would be S. But in my case, if we're not doing that actually, that up and down does not work. So we're gonna do left, right. And we're gonna do A for left and D for right. And then you have your WASD. Then what we can do now is we can add these if and then false. These will say false, but we're not going to have them as that. We're just going to duplicate this 4 times for our functions that will be making us go these ways. And then what we can do here is now we can grab one of these inputs. This input, what you want to do, let's go all the way down here. We're just going to do this one forward, this one backwards, left, and right. And then for this next part, what you need to do is if I can find where it is, yes, I am being kind of slow, guys, I'm sorry about that, but yes, you will grab set Y2 and then do that right here, and then for left and right we just do X. Obviously these depend on which way you're doing, as forward for me is going up the screen, backward is down, left, right. It could be complete opposite, where this is forward, this is backward, and left and right, or up and down. It doesn't really matter. So next, for forward, we can set this to like 150, depending on how fast you actually want it to move. It doesn't have to move fast. But yeah, backwards you want it to set it to negative 150. You can change whether it's 150 or something else again. And then we can do negative 150 here as well, and 150, just normal 150. And that should be your player movement for the most part. But what you don't want to forget is going into physics, and then you want to set velocity to, and add a move and slide. But the thing you need for this to actually work, because most of you would think you could do this, you can't actually do that. So what you need to do is go down here, grab a vector 2. In that vector 2 you take these, and this allows you to put them in there. This will allow you to move your character. And just publish this, because it allow you to play your game. We are not going to be debugging this. You guys can debug that yourself. It's pretty simple. All you have to do is delete these parts that it's actually giving you a bug. Just do that. For this, I'm not going to be doing that. I think that 500 did not do us very good. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to go into this and remove our set position 2. And then now you see our character. Now you have your movements. It's pretty simple. Hope you guys learned something from this. If you need another Godot tutorial, then just watch it again. One thing I did get wrong, however, was that I did do these backwards, so this would actually be swapped. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate you so much. I hope you guys enjoyed this new series that I'm pulling off. This is kind of different from my hobby creator stuff, but at this point where I'm kind of moving away from Obby Creator, and Obby Creator is kind of dying. I don't see a reason to post that anymore, especially with the abundance of tutorials already. You guys don't really need help with that, but if you guys do want tutorials on Obby Creator, I'm always willing to do another. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Alright, bye.